You've tried it all. The affirmations, the fake it till you make it, all the morning routines, and the gratitude journals, the self-help books. And some of it works for a while. You feel confident when you're crushing it at the gym, when you're doing well at work, and when people recognize your progress. But what happens when the performance drops? When the validation stops? When you're staring down something hard and you feel like you're not ready? That confidence just evaporates because it was never real strength. It was just performance. And performance based confidence only works when you're performing. So here's what most men don't understand: there's a massive difference between worldly confidence and godly strength. One depends on others, and well, one depends on you, and the other depends on God. Okay? One crumbles under pressure, and other sustains through it. And if you've been chasing confidence the way that the world teaches you, by grinding, validating, performing, you're exhausted because you're trying to build something that was never meant to hold the weight. So let me show you the difference. And once you see it, it changes everything. But I need to be honest with you. I've jumped on all of the self improvement trends. The wake up early, gratitude journaling, affirmations, cold showers, and all the discipline stacks. The thing is that some of them work and some of them don't. And I felt confident in a worldly sense when when I'm doing well at work, when I see the improvement in the gym, when I validate myself, and especially when others recognize it. That really feels good and that feels like confidence, but here's the problem. When the performance drops, so does the confidence. Okay? So when work isn't going well, when progress stalls like it always does, when no one's recognizing it, that confidence actually disappears. And right now, I don't feel confident. I feel weak. And starting this YouTube channel, doing something publicly, I never feel ready. I never feel like I have what it takes. But here's what I'm learning is that feeling of not being exactly where that feeling of not being exactly ready is where godly strength actually begins. Okay? Because godly strength isn't about necessarily feeling confident, it's actually about trusting that God is enough to move the way forward. Okay? So when I've sought God for strength and guidance in times of struggle, everything doesn't just suddenly become clear. It's more like a reassurance, okay? A steady sense that everything will be okay. And that I need to proceed regardless of the unknown. So that's not worldly confidence, that is actually godly strength. And there's really a massive difference. So let's define worldly confidence more clearly. Your worldly confidence is mostly performance based, okay? It's built on what you can do, how you look, what you've achieved, and how much validation you get from those activities, okay? So when those things are, going well, you feel strong. You feel like you just, got everything together. But the moment that that performance actually drops or, slows down, the moment you're not, crushing it, doing your best, the moment that progress actually stalls, right? And the moment that that validation disappears, then the confidence also crumbles. So this is the trap that most men are stuck in. Okay, they think like, if I just work harder, if I get better, if I can just achieve more, then I'll feel confident. So you keep grinding, chase that validation. You build that identity on performance, and it works until it doesn't, right? It works until it stops working. So until they face something that they can't perform their way through, until they're standing on the edge of something that's actually hard and they don't feel ready, then they realize that confidence was never real. It was conditional. Okay? It's borrowed confidence, built on sand. And here's why it actually matters. Okay? Worldly confidence will fail you when you need it most because it depends on circumstances and outcomes and validation. And when those things are gone, there goes your confidence, just gone. So you can't build a life on that. You can't lead on that. Okay? And you can't face the unknown with that, right? So let me be clear. Waking up early does work. Gratitude works. The gym obviously works. So I'm not trying to say that you need to stop doing those things, but there is a difference, okay? There's a difference between building confidence and building strength. So, godly strength isn't about feeling confident, it's actually about trusting God enough to move forward, even when you don't, okay? You trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding in all your ways. Submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Okay, let's read that again. So, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Okay, so trusting in the Lord, lean not on your own understanding. That is godly strength. It's not built on what you can do, it's built on who God is. Okay? So what does that actually, practically look like? You're facing something hard, starting something new, speaking publicly, taking a risk, or leading your family, and you don't feel ready. You don't feel confident. But instead of waiting until you feel ready, instead of trying to just hype yourself up, you seek God. You pray, okay? You ask for His strength. What you get isn't certainty, it's more reassurance. Not a guarantee that everything will work out perfectly, but a steady sense that God is with you. Okay, He's on your shoulder, He's watching over you. That you need to move even though you don't see the full picture. Okay, that's godly strength. It doesn't depend on your performance, it depends on God's presence in your life. Okay, and His presence doesn't fluctuate based on how well you're doing. Okay, that's why godly strength sustains you when worldly confidence fails. Now, here's where people get confused, okay? Godly strength doesn't replace effort, okay? It kind of reorientates it, okay? You still need to work hard. You still train. You still try to improve yourself. But the why changes. When your strength is worldly, you work hard to prove yourself. You train to feel confident. You achieve to validate your worth. Everything becomes about building yourself up so you can feel enough. But when your strength is godly, you work hard to steward what God gave you. Okay? You train to honor your body. Okay? You achieve because you're being faithful with what's in front of you. The same actions, but a different foundation. You're not waking up early to feel like an elite. You're waking up early to steward your time and seek God first. You're not training in the gym for validation. You're training to build discipline and honor the body that God gave you. You're not working hard to prove that you are capable. You work hard because you're being faithful. When your strength is in God, your effort becomes sustainable. You're not just grinding to feel confident. You're just showing up in faithfulness, right? And faithfulness doesn't require you to feel ready. Now, here's a more important part. Well, here's the moment when the difference becomes crystal clear, okay? Is that worldly confidence makes you wait until you feel ready, but godly strength makes you move when you're not. So that's really the big difference, okay? So I see a lot of confident men online, men who seem very sure of themselves, and I admire them. But here's what I'm realizing. They're not more ready than you. They just moved anyway, right? Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Be not afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Let's say that again. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That's really powerful. God didn't say wait until you feel strong. He said be strong. It's a command. It's not a feeling. It's a command. Do it. Be strong. Okay? Godly strength looks like this. Starting even though you feel unprepared. Speaking even though you're very nervous, like I am doing this video. Leading even though you feel unqualified. Step up as a man of God. Okay? Start taking the next step even though the outcome is unknown. You don't wait for confidence, you seek God. You receive His reassurance, and then you move. Now here's the truth. You will never feel fully ready for the things that God calls you to do. Because if you felt ready, you wouldn't need God, right? God doesn't call you to do things that you can do in your own strength. He calls you to do things that require His strength. The worldly confidence makes you dependent on yourself, but godly strength makes you dependent on God. And the only one of those will actually sustain you. So now you may be thinking, I've trusted God before and things still fell apart. Well, godly strength doesn't guarantee external success. It guarantees internal sustenance. Okay? It doesn't mean that everything is just going to work out in your favor, right? But it means that you can walk through anything with God's sustaining you. Okay? My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. Okay? When I'm weak, then I am strong. That's godly strength. Not confidence in yourself, but trust in God, even when you're in weakness, right? So here's what changes when you actually embrace this. You actually stop waiting to feel ready. You can stop building your identity on performance. You can stop collapsing when things just get too hard. And you just move anyway. You seek God first, okay? You receive the reassurance from God and you proceed into the unknown. You can still wake up early, you still train, you still work hard, but it's not to prove yourself. It's to be faithful. And when you stop chasing this worldly confidence and actually start walking in godly strength, then you become unshakable. Okay? Not because you are capable, but because God is capable. Okay? Now, if you've been chasing confidence the world's way, grinding for validation, performing to feel worthy, waiting until you feel ready, hear this: you will never be ready. And that's okay. Godly strength does not require you to be ready, it requires you to trust in God enough to move forward anyway. So stop building on performance and start building on trust. Stop waiting for confidence and start walking in strength. One foundation crumbles and another one stands. So, the next time we're talking about why discipline is a spiritual issue, not just self help. Because strength gets you moving, but discipline keeps you moving. Okay? So, let's keep building together. Now guys, thank you very much. If you made it to the end of this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this to anyone that you feel needs to understand that they need to walk in strength, okay, and to be confident in God, trust in God. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.